Hello and welcome back. It's been almost a month since I last spoke to you, and what a month it has been. We're now 34 days away from the Brexit deadline of Halloween, or October the 31st. But before I start, I want to admit that in my last update I got something wrong. I said that Parliament was going to be prorogued, that's when the parliamentary session ends. However, the Supreme Court this week ruled that that didn't happen, that the advice from the Prime Minister to the Queen was unlawful, void and of no effect. That brought peers and MPs back to Westminster on Wednesday, and if you've read the headlines you may know that that debate was rather unpleasant, so the less said about it, probably the better. Today I'm not going to talk about how the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has lost every vote in Parliament, nor am I going to talk about how he has a majority of almost minus 40, which is why he's calling for an election. And the main reason for that is we are now out of time for a general election before the Brexit deadline. Any general election would now have to take place in November. I should also add that over the last 2 weeks we've had the Liberal Democrat and Labour conferences. The Liberal Democrats have confirmed that they would revoke Article 50, that's cancel Brexit, if they won a majority at a general election. Labour, on the other hand, have said that they would put the vote to the people again in a second referendum. So let's look at what's going to happen next. This weekend we have the Conservative Party conference. De Havilland will be there, so keep an eye out for our updates. And also look out for primetime TV slots for Boris Johnson to lambast Parliament for failing to give him a recess for his conference. Another prorogation of Parliament is also expected, probably in the second week of October, allowing the government to bring forward its legislative agenda for the future in a Queen's speech on the 14th of October. Then on the 17th and 18th of October we have a really critical deadline. That is the European Council meeting, where Boris will have to negotiate any future new deal. And finally on the 19th of October we have a deadline that's put in place by the Benn Act. Now that is an act that the opposition MPs put in place during early September, and it requires the government to request an extension to Brexit should there be no deal put in place. Now there is speculation that the government might be looking to circumvent this law, but what we should keep in mind is that the Supreme Court is clearly interested in interceding should the government try and break the rules again. So there's key weeks ahead for Brexit. What we should keep in mind as well is that the uncertainty will continue, but also that the outcomes remain unchanged. It's either a deal, no deal, or an extension on October the 31st. As always, should you have any questions, please do get in touch. I'll be delighted to discuss what's happening with you, and I look forward to keeping you updated in the weeks ahead as we approach October the 31st. Thank you very much.